What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Dang, dragonfly fight over here. Just as we go live. Appreciate you guys tuning in for another video. If you guys are new to the channel, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. You know, we're really trying to pump out 3 videos a week right now, really trying to grow the channel, and really would appreciate if you guys hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future videos that are on the channel. You know, the goal of my channel is to help you guys catch more bass. So that's what we're going to do here today. I'm going to show you a little secret. I'm going to let the cat out of the bag a little bit. You may have heard of the Core Tackle Ozark rig. If you haven't, it's something you definitely want to check out. But I'm going to talk a little bit about it and how I've been catching a few fish here this morning out on the water, and a couple different baits that you may not have thought to put on the Ozark rig. And man, we're just going to dive in, talk all about the Ozark rig. But this is a bait that I feel like not a lot of people are throwing. You may just kind of overlook it, but it's something you definitely need to have in your boat, and it definitely puts fish in my boat. So I'm wanting to help you guys put some fish in your boat. So if you guys are ready, let's jump in, and we'll take you through the whole process of the Ozark rig. Okay, so right there, that's the finished setup that I'm using here today, and it's basically a Yamamoto flapping hog, which the flapping hog is an excellent bait any way you rig it, as a jig trailer, Texas rig. But I really like this with the Ozark rig because of just the unique kind of gliding action. It just really just kind of slides along the bottom, a lot like a little crawfish or a crab. You know, we're actually on a tidal body of water right now, and there's a lot of those little crabs in the water, and this just kind of glides along and looks just like one of those. So this is an excellent choice for any type of fishing you're doing. But really like this flapping hog on the Ozark rig. So let's pull him off. Let's see if I can do it without ruining the bait. And let's just talk about the Ozark rig first. So as far as my setup for fishing the Ozark rig, you know, I like a 7-foot, 7'2" medium heavy, you know, not a super heavy rod. I like 15-pound fluorocarbon. So I got 15-pound Seaguar Tatsu fluorocarbon rigged up on here. And then that is the Core Tackle Ozark rig right there. So there's plenty of different size options and hook options, but this one I have right here is the 3/16 with the 3/0 hook. And it really fits this flapping hog perfectly. You know, if you're using a bigger bait, a different bait, you know, you can upsize your hook. If you're fishing a little bit deeper water, you can get a little bit bigger weight. And it really, the hook size or the weight size doesn't change the action of this bait. So, you know, it doesn't matter how heavy or light you go, it still just glides perfectly. But for me, I always like to use the lightest possible. You know, I'm fishing fairly shallow here today, so, you know, I like that 3/16 size. It's a perfect, and it really spreads the lead out across the whole shank of the hook and really helps get that more of a horizontal fall rather than like a nose first fall that you would with a Texas rig or a jig head or something like that. But, you know, rigging this bait can be a little tricky. You know, you look at this and you're like, how am I going to get this rigged up properly onto my soft plastic? And there's a couple different options you can do here, and I'll kind of walk you through 2 different ways to rig the Ozark rig. First up is going to be, so you already got him tied on, you just tie on your Ozark rig, and then you get your bait, flapping hog here, or, you know, you can use multiple different baits. I've actually caught a few on a tube here this morning, which we'll dive into that once we get through the flapping hog, but that's a really unique presentation there. But okay, basically, so if you were rigging a flapping hog on, say, just a standard flipping setup, a Texas rig, you would start through the nose right here. You know, start through the top, come through, and come out just like that, okay? But with the Ozark rig, you're gonna do the, I guess, the opposite. So basically, right where that hook would normally come out is where you're gonna start, okay? And you're gonna go straight through the bait. So he's going to look like essentially like that right there. I mean, it's basically like you're just nose hooking the bait, okay? You go straight through it. And then you're going to slide him up over the lead. And now this can get a little tricky as you use the heavier style, you know, this lead gets thicker, and it can actually rip a pretty good size hole in the bait. So I'm going to show you a alternative way here in a second that you can do and not rip up your bait as much. But basically, you know, a little spit always helps. Slide it up over there, a little scent or anything. But basically, you're going to slide it all the way up over, and really you want that flapping hog to basically come up onto your line, just like that. So now he is all the way through that Ozark rig and rigged. You know, the nose is ready to be rigged. So basically that eye of that hook is just going to pop through right there. And now that that is set up, you're ready to take your hook and just kind of rig him in the back, just like you would your standard Texas rig. Any type of flip and rig hook that you would use, you just rig it up exactly the same that you would do with that. Run him through, and then just kind of tuck the hook back in so he doesn't get hung up. And now you are ready to go. You're ready to flip him around. And with that line tie being on the top of the bait, you know, it gives it that more gliding action. And then every time you give it a pop or a shake, it kind of pulls it up and not really horizontal. And it just gives it a totally different look with that Ozark rig. So that right there, that is one way you can do it. Like I said. Now, let's show you the second way. The second way involves retying, but this will totally save you from tearing up your bait. So actually, we'll pull out a heavier version so you can really see what I'm talking about here. Get into the old... So you can see here, this is the 3A size, so it's quite a bit thicker on the lead. You can see, you know, this is a 3/16, this is a 3A, so this is a lot thicker. And you know, if you run it through certain types of plastics, it may tear that up. So we have a phone call coming through. Okay. So basically, this hook is a little big for the flapping hog, but we can, I guess we could use the tube for this demonstration. So basically, instead of hooking it right through the side like this, and then threading him all the way up through the tube, you're gonna run him through the side just like that, and then pull the hook out, okay? And then go back through that hole and insert the hook, or the hook eye, okay? I guess the tube's a bad example. Let's go to the flapping hog, we'll show you the top. So we already have our hole through here. You know, that's where your line tie is gonna end up. Basically, you go back and you rig it backwards. So you put the eye of the hook through the bottom and push it through here, okay? And then you're gonna tie your line onto there. So it saves that plastic from running all the way up through here. And it, you know, it's gonna help your baits last longer, one, and then it's going to save your, you know, you got a fresh knot. So for me personally, I really don't mind retying, you know, every time I rig up a new bait. If it's gonna help me catch more fish, it keeps your line fresh, keeps your knots fresh. And you know, if that's what it takes to help me catch more fish, I will gladly retie every time I have to put a new bait on. But that is another option, especially for these heavier Ozark rigs, the thicker lead, that you can insert it backwards and then tie on your line so it doesn't tear up the plastic very much. But we will, using the 3/16, so I'm going to tie him on. I just wanted to show you the demonstration with the heavier. So basically you just push the plastic down through there till the eye of that hook pops out. Then you can run your line through there like that. And now you're good to tie your knot, and you saved tearing up that bait. Okay, So that is the rigging. Now, as far as the fishing side of the Ozark rig, I kind of touched on it a minute ago. But this is essentially a replacement for your Texas rigs. Uh-oh, the dentist watching are gonna yell at me for biting my line, but see, now I chew on it. I got a problem. Okay, so like I said, this is basically going to replace your Texas rig or your flipping style setups. And working it is very simple. So I like to flip at a target, whether it's a tree, a rock pile, something like that. And I'm just kind of slowly dragging this along the bottom. And as this is dragging, every time you put a little action with your rod tip, it pulls it up and then it kind of glides back down. And that gliding action is just something that the bass cannot stand, just because it looks so natural. It's not very intrusive. And that's the whole key with the Ozark rig, is using baits that don't have claws or action to the bait. So basically, this is a kind of a straight swimming style bait, a tube. Doesn't have any flappers or anything, so it just kind of glides it through the water. So those are the type of baits you want to throw on here. I really don't like throwing, more of your cross style baits, like we have the Yamamoto Yamacraw right here, and you see he's got those flappers on the back. So every time you pull, those claws are going to be flapping, and it's going to not allow the bait to glide the way that the Ozark rig designed it to. So it's really for those non-flapping style baits, your beaver style baits, your flapping hogs, stuff like that. That's really what the Ozark rig excels at. But like I said, this is something that I bet you haven't tried, and I promise you this rig right here will put some fish in your boat. And with the fish being so pressured nowadays, it's always crucial to have something new, something that nobody else is throwing, or not everybody else is throwing. And this guy right here, this is that. This is the new hottest technique right here. So give it a try. Let me know what you think. Check the links in the description down below, right over to fishusa.com if you want to try out the old Ozark rig or the flapping hog or the tubes or anything bass fishing over at Fish USA. I'd appreciate that. Hopefully you guys learned something. Leave me those likes and comments down below. Don't forget, hit that subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you guys next time.